Yakmala! Yakmala! Welcome back, my friends, to the cult film Showdown. I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu, and I am truly pleased to be joined by my other friends. And I got me some Jack Hall in the house.
What's up? I got a Tic Tac, and it's Coca-Cola flavored.
Excellent.
And I only know that not from the taste, certainly, but from the fact that it's written on the side.
From the packaging. That's right. All right, Nick Boxer.
Greetings and salutations. We got a classic here today. I can't wait.
And then we have James Cotta.
I am, for the purposes of this episode, I'm being overdubbed by an American actor. But want to make sure that everyone can follow the plot.
That's true.
I'm happy to be here. I'm ready.
All right. Well, the plot in this case is provided by the movie Enter the Ninja. This is season 16, canon fodder, and this one, I mean, when you talk about canon, this is almost as canon as you get. You know, given that, I mean, this movie is directed by Menahem Golan, so that's freaking canon right there. But
Shot in the Philippines, that's canon.
Yeah, like a story by Mike Stone. This is canon, you know. Like, all right, and now, speaking of canon, our canon, our little piece of canon, we have Nick Boxer to explain it.
All right, Enter the Ninja. Self-explanatory. Franco Nero and his awesome mustache have just graduated ninja school. So he goes to visit his best buddy in the Philippines. You get the sense that they were maybe mercenaries together. But his buddy has a plantation, but he's being threatened out by some sort of evil land business dude, oil baron type guy. And, the bad guys aren't really aware that, you don't mess with the ninja. So waves of bad guy toadies, including like toady dude with a hook hand and bad guy butler, all sort of take a run at the plantation and wave of nameless bad guys. And you know what? Our hero, Franco Nero, fights him off in a white ninja suit without any troubles at all. And then, surprise, surprise, his best rival from ninja school just shows up out of nowhere. And, he's on the bad guy side for a while. And then, Franco beats him too, and the movie ends. But, Frank Nero does sleep with his best friend's wife for no apparent reason, so that happens.
And given her questionable hotness, it is no reason at all.
Well, I find her attractive, but there was no sexual tension between them.
She just really liked the mustache.
Maybe. And I couldn't figure out, did the best friend actually set up the sex scene? It seemed like he was aware.
He seemed like he didn't mind at all.
Because he did admit that he was impotent directly before the sex scene.
He did seem to care, though, because at the one point he does say, "Should I grow a mustache?" And so he definitely knows, and he definitely treats her poorly from it. But then, of course, they get attacked, and then he dies. So they have no time to ever talk about it, and really that's okay because. I mean, ultimately, really what this movie did was it was an A-Team episode that just happened to replace the A-Team with ninjas.
Should we be calling them ninjas, really? Because I had never... there's no ninja... there's no martial arts in this film.
Well, there is martial arts, but it's karate. It is. It's Michael Stone. And he's the stunt double for Franco Nero, and he does the choreography, and it's, and Sho Kosugi does some choreography, but for the ninjas, but like the 90% of the martial arts is Franco Nero's character, and that's just karate.
Okay. Yeah, you want more. You want this film to be better because, as a kid, all these ninja films were like the bomb, and we all watched them.
Oh yeah, the ninjas.
It was more fun to talk about with your buddies than it was to watch this film.
More fun to pretend to be a ninja. Ninjas were cool to kids. I think ninjas are still cool to kids, but they're back in the 80s. Ninjas were.
But do you remember those magazines? Like the ninja magazines, and it was just like you looked, and it's just like, oh, I can like mail order throwing stars. How awesome is that? And really, that's the thing. Like, Enter the Ninja is one of the reasons.
Will they make a whirring sound like a helicopter?
Whoosh, like the various sound effects that the throwing stars made throughout the movie. I think for me, I think Revenge of the Ninja is like, it's funny because I feel like, I mean, we've definitely talked about Ninja 3 and we know how high that scored, but like, I feel like Revenge of the Ninja ramps up this one, and of course Ninja 3 The Domination just like, ramps it up like to the nth degree beyond there. Yeah, for
beyond
sure.
Belief. Yeah. I mean, if we're going to look at the ninja movies, and it was a craze, and this kicked it off, and there was a whole ton of them. I think Pray for Death is probably like the best of the ninja movies.
I honestly don't.
I didn't expect that to be such a conversation.
I've not seen it. So
that's all of us trying to remember if we've seen it.
Yeah.
Well, the Octagon. The Octagon would have been the first ninja movie I saw, and it's kind of a shade above this, but it certainly didn't become
it is the first North American language ninja film. So
yeah, but I don't think
before this one.
I think that this is when ninja started being a common.
Oh yeah,
because this is somewhere around or predates G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah. I mean, well,
G.I. Joe is 80, like around that ballpark when they.
Well, yeah, because this is 81. So but G.I. Joe still.
The entire look is from this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was watching this, and my wife was nearby, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, it reminds me, did they finish the Snake Eyes movie or not? Because I'm looking at Storm Shadow, and I'm thinking. I'm looking at Snake Eyes versus Storm Shadow in the opening of this film, and I'm wondering if they made it through the production on that.
Yeah, they just kind of swapped the costumes basically.
Well, I mean, I think it's important to note here, since Stan, you called this an A-Team episode with a little bit of martial arts or ninjas thrown in, that this an A-Team episode didn't have a $4 million budget. I don't know where they spent the money. Anybody know where they spent the money?
Because again,
dyeing the ninja costumes.
How much money did Franco Nero get? He wasn't originally going to be in this. Michael Stone was starring in it, and they had to replace him because he couldn't act, and they were in the Philippines. And Franco Nero just happened to be in the Philippines, and Menai Golden visited him and managed to convince him to do the film. Like it just fell together. It's not like this script was written for him in mind. I mean, I have no idea where they spent that money on.
No. I think they spent it on doing the two African flashbacks that they slapped into it for no reason.
I felt like those were from
those looked expensive.
I felt like those were from a separate movie, like one of those ones where the guys had made a entirely different movie together, and they just lifted those two scenes.
Oh,
out.
Totally. They are like, the problem was it was the kind of thing, and to me they would factor into my what the fuck moments, but like they're the kind of thing that just you didn't need them. Like, you could tell me, oh, but I remember Africa, and you saved my life. I would have been okay with that, but instead you had to show like 2 minutes of Africa and him like kind of saving your life from one guy, basically. Yes. I could have built it up way better than you showed me.
Did we ever get the explanation from Nick about the movie?
Yeah, he ran through all 4 plot points.
Okay.
It was
all you need to know about the movie.
There wasn't a lot to explain.
It's a really simple plot because, as Nick said, they truly just keep sending waves after wave of bad guys after him, and he keeps defeating them. That's like 75% of the movie is him defeating these like 10 schlubs at a time, basically.
I have never seen a ninja movie with less sneaking around than this movie.
Yeah, kind of everything. Yeah, I mean, it's the granddaddy of ninja movies, and everything you think of when you think of ninja isn't in this movie.
No, that's true.
Despite how Prime sells it,
and at the end, he has a ninja outfit on at the beginning and the end. Most of the movie, he does do a sneaking thing, but he's just dressed like a regular dude when he takes out those 20 men, and he just sneaks around and takes them all out. But it's not, not at all. It's I don't know. Its reputation is probably, its lore is better than the actual movie.
Well, it opens in a promising way. It's we have 13 minutes before the first line of dialogue, and we get a nice demonstration of ninja arts from Sho Kosugi. Then we get the long testing that makes no sense.
No sense.
And but then every decision after that is weird.
Well, it's like a Western. This is like a classic Western plot. It's with some karate thrown in.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got a farmer with a plantation and a land baron that wants to take his land because it has oil. I mean, it's just a Western, but without, the good Western stuff.
Yeah, if you've got a problem and no one else can help, then, call Franco Nero's call.
I will forever. My memorable moment's going to be that I'm going to think of him as Franco Ninja from now on. I thought that, I thought it was a slip of the tongue, but I think we should call him that for the whole episode.
I'm good with that. I think he would have been good with that too. He, by the way, had absolutely no martial arts training. Just in case you were wondering, heading into the film. Yeah.
So shocked. I'm
hell of an actor.
The problem is,
I do love Franco Nero. Don't get me wrong.
He's
Franco
great.
Nero and Sho Kosugi. I mean, I do love both those guys.
All right, I got a question. So Hook Hand, who's like he's the on the ground guy for our big bad. Our big bad's like a business guy, and Hook Hand is his go-to guy. Is there a reason he's German? Because it didn't sound like a real accent, which means they decided to make him German.
Because Germans are evil.
Well, and it's so weird because his name is like Zachi Noi. And it's like he's Israeli, but it's hilarious because his name actually almost sounds more Japanese than anybody else.
I just assumed because we were in a tropical locale that is definitely the Philippines, but I think they were trying for sort of South America thing that sort of works into the whole,
No, they mentioned
Nazi on the run thing.
They mentioned it was the Philippines.
Yeah, and we see Manila
Multiple
Airlines
times.
and stuff like that. Yeah, so there's no question that it's.
Yeah, I mean, part of the film was filmed in Japan, but no, they mentioned it's Philippines.
I mean, bless you for trying to figure it out, though.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah.
So what did this film teach you? Anybody got a what did the film? Anybody learn anything from this film?
I certainly did.
Camouflage is not important in a ninja arts. Because we only got one black.
The best way to blend in is to wear white
or red.
Or red. Yeah, bright red or white. That is true.
I learned that there is way more money in coconuts than I thought there was, because he refuses to sell out for $1 million.
Yeah.
He's offered 7 figures to give up this plantation and says, no, got to stick around here and sell coconuts.
That's because his wife loved it, and it was her home now.
I feel like you could get another home. If you're getting $1 million
in the Philippines for that, yeah, I expect so.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, what are you gonna do? Like retire somewhere tropical? Come on, like, like what do you do with it? But I still think I no matter how much I love my house, I could be convinced to buy an island for in exchange.
Well, they said that plantation had been running for 200 years, and his wife loved it. So I maybe that was his explanation why he couldn't, Oh
yeah, that was totally his reasoning. There's no question. What I learned out of it, though, was that everybody loves a cockfight.
Oh yeah,
it's a weird introduction to your second hero of the story.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is amazing, but that the final scene where they're in this big stadium that holds probably about, I said, between 3,000 and 5,000 people and has stands and everything like that, and a round pit. Mm-hmm. That's an actual cockfighting arena. Wow. That's how popular that is at the time in the Philippines. That's a real arena used for cockfighting that they shot the actual battle between Shokasugi and Franco Nero. Wow.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's it. That is truly crazy stuff.
All of a sudden, this movie doesn't have enough cockfighting.
I feel if you were trying to mainstream cockfighting like this, that you should have thrown in a bit more.
That was weird to see cockfighting. I was totally uncomfortable. I did learn that Susan Jones' character of Marianne and her husband Charles, they're apparently swingers.
I learned an extra lesson. I learned that you don't talk to Mr. Venarius directly.
Or you get slapped.
or if you do it enough times, they'll just ignore that and let you talk to them directly.
Yeah. And I also learned that having women in a swimming pool is art.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't sexy, so it might as well be art. What do you say we go to scoring?
Why not?
I think that would be a good idea at this juncture.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In our search for the ultimate B movies, we rate each film in 5 categories, none of which are objective quality. The first category we call Schlock Uphill, and we start with Stan.
Despite its pedigree, Enter the Ninja is, to me, far more name than game, so I really can only give it a 5.
I know what you're saying, but nostalgia pulls me. I'm going to go way up, and this is probably way out of line, but 7. I just don't want to give it up.
So I'll fall in between those two, and I'll give it a 6 for definitely for being so canon, basically.
Yeah, I think the promise of this film certainly brought us in. Franco Nero as a ninja versus Shokasugi. That's a great pitch. That's going to jump off the VHS shelf at you. So I'm going to go with 6 as well. More heart than budget, and I heard 2 radically different numbers again. I'm bringing 1.5 million from IMDb.
And I got 4 million from Wikipedia.
Wow, that's
I like this game.
Yeah, for sure.
So somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, somewhere. I mean, yeah. Wow.
I'd like to believe 1.5.
I would too, because it's the Philippines. Everything should be really cheap. Show always brings it. He's great, and Frank, in this case, Franco Ninja. I mean, like, I think he does a good job with what he's given. Ultimately, I don't. 6.
Yeah, I think Franco Nero did a great job. But how much do chickens cost in the Philippines in the 80s? Yeah, it's really hard to defeat that budget. I'm only going to go with a 4.
I'm going higher because Michael Stone, who was supposed to star in this, he choreographed it. He they filmed about 3 days with him and another director before Minham Golem decided he couldn't act and the other director was shooting a boring movie and took over. But like he really, really wanted to bring ninjas to the forefront, and he pitched the idea, he sold it, he did the story, he did the screenplay, he did all this stuff, and just on his effort alone, I think it's got to have a lot of heart. It didn't turn out for him to act in it, but yeah, that to me is pretty high, so I'm going with a 7.
I think you've made a compelling argument. 6. I was going to be lower, so that's where your argument came in. What the fuck moments?
For me, I didn't think there was a lot. I mean, it has its ridiculous moments. I like the Asian font for the credits. That really added an air of racism to it. So it's always good. I enjoyed even the first time I watched this, and it was only like 5 months before that I watched this movie, and it was always fun trying to notice where the white ninja was Mike Stone and where the white ninja was Franco Nero on the close-ups. There's like the sound effects. I mean, we talked earlier about the idea of the terrible swooshing and random sounds with the throwing stars. But there's this point where Franco like dunks the hook guy's hook into the wall, and you hear this wah 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 sound effect, and it's kind of like, oh wow, that's so there's this big point where they're bringing in the main character to try to sell it. Well, not the main character, but the owner of the plantation, to try to ensure that he sells, and like Franco takes out most of his entourage and the bad guys, and then there's supposed to be 20, and he winds up having to count on his fingers to get to like that he has 6 guys left and that he's missing 14, and it was kind of like, why did you count on your fingers for that? There's this great point right near the end, which I found absolutely amazing, where Franco finds out that Shokasugi, the Black Ninja, has come, and it's this like home movie-esque video of film that they start playing of him, which I realize is like completely edited with close-ups and all this other stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute now, how do you have multiple angles of him killing somebody, including close-ups? That seems really odd. So I can just give it a 5. My expectations would have been far greater, and this movie for me is hurt because I watched Revenge of the Ninja the next day, and I think that Revenge of the Ninja is far superior from this perspective.
The WTF for me is definitely the beginning scene where it's they have this whole ninja versus ninja thing where Franco Nero's running through an obstacle course, killing ninjas left and right, and then finally decapitating the master. And then you get a scene that undoes all of it, that it was all prosthetics and I don't know, blood packs and stuff. Why? Why would you go to that kind of trouble to make it all look kind of real? It's absolutely insane to have that there, other than it's a movie. Yeah, that scene is nuts, but the rest of it sort of definitely peters out into that whole Western genre thing. So I'm going to go with a 6.
That opening sequence, he has to beat up the other ninjas. He has to be better than the other ninjas to become a ninja, to graduate from his ninja school. And it literally is a school, because he does mention, I went to school with that other ninja, later on in the movie. And the leader of this ninja school, he meets him. The guy bows at him and blinks, and then he decapitates the head of the ninja school. Just have that head of the ninja school walk in later with a fake head, so it wasn't real. And I'm going, why is this whole, why did you decapitate? How does that prove? How is that a graduation ceremony? How I don't understand that. That to me, also in that sequence, there's a point where the stuntman jumps down, and it's one of those shots where you're like, I can't believe they left this in there, because the stuntman jumps down and behind some bushes, and Franco Nero or Franco Ninja stands up and emerges from the bushes, and you can see the stuntman trying his best to hide behind Franco Nero so he can't be seen. Oh, the stuntman! The fact that they did all these shots with Michael Stone as Franco Nero, and even from behind, he don't look anything alike. He's got like curly brown hair. It doesn't look anything like Franco Nero's. And that character, the Hook character. I mean, there's a point where he has his arm ripped off, and then he just has the hook put back in. Or the hook ripped off in his bloody arm, and then he just put back in, and I'm like, it's everything about that character, from the fact he was German, to the fact that he could barely walk, to the fact that he was way fat, to the fact that he was had a hook for a hand. Everything about that was so schlocky and WTF and just felt so tacked on. I also got a 6 on this because they aren't classic WTFs, but there's enough in there.
I think it's funny that so many of us went to that opening section as our WTF, because I do wonder if they had shot that stuff with the first director and then started switching things up, because
and then had to slap in
Franco.
Like,
had to then explain that he's not just brutally murdering people, because the explanation we're given is, we see one ninja that he had attacked earlier who has a cut across his face, and he pulls a board out of his shirt, which indicates like, oh yeah, he could have, stuck a ninja star or whatever into that. But rewatching that scene, there's a spot where he clearly stabs someone with a sword.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, that guy in the next scene, that guy with the cut across his face doesn't have the cut across his face either. So maybe he's just a fast healer. You ever think of that?
Well, then I wish all the health in the world to the guy who got a ninja star in the face, because that's one that's a little harder to.
I thought that was the guy with the cut on his face.
Look, if the head of the school can literally be decapitated and it doesn't hurt them, then I don't see what's the difference between ninja stars to the face and it doesn't hurt them. Like,
I love that. So heading into the final battle, Franco Ninja loads up every weapon he owns. he's carrying 3 swords, a bow, 2 sais, and a couple of little knives when he goes to attack the building. And then he keeps stabbing people and walking away from them.
I know. He leaves all the weapons.
A single-use weapon. I feel like you don't have to reload them. Like, you can just pick those up.
This is like Omega Cop, where it's just like, okay, well, that one's done.
Yeah, but it's not just once though. Like, because when he leaves, I mean, the guy that fell in the pool, fair enough. You're gonna dive into the pool when you've got 2 more swords on you. But he stabs 2 guys with sais, and there's no reason he doesn't go pick them up. It's other than he's got to show off every ninja weapon in the course of that. Fight.
Yeah, of course, that's exactly it, and he does. There's no question about that.
And a couple more small ones. When Mr. Venarius sends his right-hand man to Japan to hire a ninja, because we've got to hire our own ninja if he's got a ninja. The Parker, the right-hand man, the guy, the the deal maker, the fixer, goes to what is clearly a casting agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And says, like, okay, that's all, like, it's nice that you got guys that dress as samurais, but what I really need is a ninja. And he's like, there are no ninjas. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, no, I really need a ninja. He said, well, okay, there's one. I know a ninja. Like, how did you connect with this guy? Where did this?
And then they go to a ninja school where to get that one ninja, where there's like 30 ninjas.
I feel like I would have hired a half dozen of the red ninjas for the same price.
Why? He kicked their ass at the beginning.
Well, he doesn't know that, though. I mean, he kicked Shoku's ass, too. He doesn't know that. Still hires him. My last WTF is so his best friend has died. He's defeated the bad guys. The girl's got the coconut farm and the vast fortune that comes with that. And then Franco Ninja's going to leave. He's got to do the Western thing of walking away. So he's and she says, like, am I ever going to see you again? He's like, yeah, I'll be back. And at that moment, I'm asking, where are you going?
Well, he was just visiting. He was just there to visit his buddy.
But at no point do they.
Why
he doesn't appear to have any other obligations.
No, that's true.
So,
man, I almost forgot the opening scene where we introduced to the Susan George character, where she brings out the shotgun and almost shoots him, and he beats the hell out of her. And he just grabs her from behind and puts an arm lock or a hammer lock.
He grabs her tit, man.
He does totally grab her tit.
And he totally grabs her breast, no question. And then she's like, he knows ninjutsu. I'm like, that's him.
Dead giveaway. The boob grab is a classic ninja move.
Classic ninja move.
Man, I'm a ninja.
We all want to be ninjas, like I said.
6 for me. Memorable moments.
Well, it's funny because when this came up, I got sort of excited because I thought, oh, is this the one with this thing in it? And then I went back and looked, and it was like, oh no, that's Revenge of the Ninja. Oh shoot. Okay, so I mean, it came back as I was watching it, but ultimately, like the title, and I know that these two movies, Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja, are going to be so interchangeable within my mind that in a year I'll completely forget, other than it having Franco Nero or Franco Ninja, I guess. But I just can't go high. It's a 3.
That first scene is so memorable and fun. I loved it as a kid. I love it now. And honestly, having seen this movie before, I forgot the rest of how not great that this movie is. I just remember the beginning sequence and going, oh, I love that. And then after the first 5 minutes, like, oh my God, this is just basic John Wayne bullshit here. Yeah. So I'll give it a 4 entirely for the first 5 minutes, and that's it.
Wow. So I got a 10. Seriously, I mean, if memorable moments is how much of a pop culture impact it made, this is a 10 because it made a huge impact on ninjas, and throwing stars, and all the things that we think of with ninjas come from this particular movie. Everything that is all the the different types of weapons and everything, they end up being used by everybody else afterwards. So I mean, memorable moments it's how much pop culture impact did you make? It couldn't have made more. I mean, it was a big success. I got a 10.
I am racking my brain. We've done like 140 of these. I don't remember that ever being the explanation for memorable moments.
It was for Revenge of the Nerds. It was for, in fact, if you go back and listen to me for most of mine, That's
All
exactly
right.
what I talk about.
You got it.
You're not scoring for you. You're scoring for pop culture.
Yeah,
Fair-
that's
fair enough.
how I always come at it.
All right, I'm going to score for me and give it a 5. I'll give it a 9 if we're going to use Jax. Because they're still the Octagon. Crazy concept.
Well, I think we've mentioned it before. I know I've talked about this being an A-Team episode, which were all basically westerns in the first place. I mean, the concept itself is not crazy. I mean, trying to bring ninjas to the forefront. I don't know that that's crazy. I mean, obviously it worked for a while. So, yeah, I don't think it's a crazy concept. I think that Franco Ninja as a ninja is kind of a crazy concept, but I'll give it a 4.
I'm going to go a little higher. I think at the time, it was relatively novel to introduce ninjas, and obviously because they greenlit a whole bunch of these at about the same time, they were really giving it a push, which is not exactly the sanest of moves, because nobody knew what a ninja was at this time. So I'll go with the 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, it is the first, to bring ninjas to the forefront in this style. Not the first, like I say, English language movie. It came out about 6 months earlier with Chuck Norris, but this is the one that brought it to the forefront before. So taking a chance on the ninjas and that they would be cool before anybody knew whether or not it would actually take off. There was no evidence it would take off, in culture. I think I got to give it a little bit of credit. So I got a 7.
But this is still canon, and really, I mean, they will take a shot on anything.
But this is early canon when they still thought they were a studio. This is canon in 1981, right? When they still thought they were going to win Academy Awards and grow as a studio and everything.
Fair.
I mean, they wanted to show this at Cannes. This was originally scheduled to be shown at Cannes.
God, just the cojones on these guys.
I know.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's interesting that you could trace this like development of martial arts into American film, and a lot of the things we see in ninjas after this come not only from this, but kind of translating kung fu through that lens of because you kind of have this melding of the supernatural element of kung fu into the ninja, which starts as an assassin. Like he hasn't magical powers in this. Like you mentioned the invisibility and stuff. So it's kind of those two things end up merging into what we now think of ninjas,
and that's
where they actually can disappear.
And you know what, the Shaw brothers and their presentation of ninjas and the did have magic and everything like that involved, and so some of that also helped to influence that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 6. I think that it was enough of a risk to start bringing those things together. All right, this film does get a -1 for ticking over the 95-minute mark. It is 99 minutes. And that gives it a round total of 56.5 out of 100, which ties it with both Bloodsport and Transylvania Twist.
Yeah, seems about right, as our scoring usually does.
Bloodsport's a good one to tie with, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
It's definitely, yeah, it has that. Again, it's... Because I know Bloodsport scored very well for its pop culture element and what it gave to pop culture as well. So
yes, that's right.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, since we watched Bloodsport, every time I see a competition, a martial arts competition, it is the Kumite for me. It's like,
oh yeah, sure. I know what you mean.
All right, well, let's do some business then, Jim.
All right. Well. We are the Cult Film Showdown. We have a Patreon that you can look up and you can support what we're doing here, searching for the ultimate B movies. And we have an Instagram and we're on YouTube and on most podcast apps, so subscribe all over the place. And we are sponsored by WeTalkPodcast.com. They are the home of the Octagon, where you can keep track of our entire search and all 100 and some movies we've done so far, sorted into each category. And We Talk Podcast has a Facebook, and they have a Twitter.
Awesome. Well, Cannon Fodder, this is season 16, moves on with The Naked Cage. We are truly in the home stretch for this season, so it'll be exciting to move on and actually go back to season 17 and re-enter the Octagon. But, yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have anything else to add in this case? Doesn't sound like it. All right, perfect. So, for Jim, and for Jack, and for Nick, I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu. Thanks for listening to the cult film Showdown.
The first martial art to sweep the modern world was jiu-jitsu, closely followed by the discipline of karate. Then we were taught to combine the spiritual with the physical by the masters of kung fu. And now, the Cannon Group is proud to introduce the practitioner of the oldest and ultimate martial art, the ninja. Enter the ninja.
This gold is your license as a master of ninjutsu.
Starring Franco Nero, exploding into action as Cole, the White Ninja.
Give him a message for me.
Yeah?
I don't like to be followed.
I love it here. It's become my home. And nobody is going to drive us away.
Susan George is the proud and beautiful Mary Ann, a strong-willed woman who knows what she wants and just how to get it. And introducing Sho Kosugi.
Kampai! Kampai! Kampai.
Hasegawa, the black ninja, born of samurai blood, is unable to accept anything but the ancient ways.
You did not drink Hasegawa.
He is no ninja.
It's the land code. They want to take it away from us.
Bitter and merciless, this rogue ninja will stop at nothing to destroy any and all who cross his path. Ninja, hired assassins, trained killers, masters of the most deadly art known to man.
You